It's asleep and I've been up since 6 a.m. Early bird gets the word what it is. 10 a.m. Used to sleep and I've been up since 6 a.m. Early bird gets the word what it is.
All right, what's up, everybody? Back again here. I got a special guest on the show today. I'm very excited about this guest. Actually, known this guest since college, and he actually opened up his own online record shop. And his name is Elijah. He's right here, and I'm gonna leave it up to Elijah to kind of talk a little bit more about the shop and a little bit more about him, and then we just gonna get into questions about music and tapping into music, tapping into records, and then get you over there to check out his record shop as well. So Elijah, go ahead and take it over for us.
Appreciate that, Corey, man. So, hey, everybody, my name is Elijah Christian. Like Corey said, I'm the owner of the Library Record Shop. It's a shop that I started just a couple years ago. And it's actually funny, thinking about it this morning, next week on the 10th, actually be 2 years since the shop has been open. So, it kind of blows my mind that time has been going so fast. But yeah, I just am an enthusiast of music. I'm enthusiastic about music. I've always been into music. So, I really started the shop. Well, I don't know. Am I jumping ahead? We can stop there with the intro. And
Okay, you don't want to drop all the gems right here.
yeah. I want to get ahead of myself. I get excited. So you know what I'm saying?
Got you. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we're gonna get into why you started shopping, things like that. We ain't gonna have you spill the beans just yet.
Right.
But okay, cool. Thank you for that introduction, man. And I guess my first question to you is, have you always been into music, or is it something that kind of just came across you like in high school or college, or like where did music kind of enter your life first off?
So, I mean, music has always been something I've been into and interested in. I couldn't necessarily pinpoint like one specific moment that I say kind of started it all for me in terms of loving music. But I can tell you when the love kind of started to evolve. Back in middle school, I think I got my first way back in the day. I got the first little iPod Nano.
Oh yeah, I could talk
I got
for
the little
days
iPod
about
Nano
that.
back in the day, the silver one.
Yeah.
And I got decked out with the iPod, and I had you had to get the iTunes gift card to load everything on there at the time.
Mhm.
And I think I got my first gift card, and I just kind of went crazy. And
Went brazy on them.
I went crazy. It just being exposed to different things, just being able to have my own device to stream my music. It was like, okay, now it's my time. I can listen to what I want. I don't got to be limited to the radio or whatever the case is. But
Mhm.
yeah, since then the love has just continued on. I played an instrument in high school. I played the trombone, so I got a little bit
Okay.
of musical skills that run the family. I
Okay.
got some uncles that play different instruments, and my grandfather, he passed away last year, but
Sorry to
he
hear that.
he way back in the day he was a pastor, but before he became a pastor, he actually had his own band. So
Oh,
music, it really just running the family. It
okay.
really running the family, and it's something that I've always been into, and just over time, man, it's kind of evolved.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm glad that you mentioned the iPod Nano, man. I can remember my first MP3 player ever. It was like one of them RCA MP3 players.
Yeah, I had
It
one of
had a little red screen on it with some black words. Could barely see the song. And
yeah,
I remember I was like, how am I supposed to get music on this thing? So I was downloading LimeWire and all that, getting
yeah.
viruses on my
Right.
computer.
Computer,
Just
yeah, we all
yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah, but before that, I used to burn CDs.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I used to burn CDs, and I used to have like just random old MP3 CDs just full of random songs on there, man. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because it brought me to a time where
yeah.
before I had the iPod, I had the MP3 player and then the CD, man. Man, that was a good time. People don't know what they missing out on, dog.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of burning CDs, uh, back in high school when I got my first car, it was a
Mhm.
Chevy Cavalier, a little two-door coupe,
Oh yeah, the
and
Cavalier.
it was a little red two-door Chevy Cavalier. And when I bought it, like little entertainment sound system didn't work, so I couldn't,
Mm-hmm.
hook up the aux or anything. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to revert back. I was burning CDs or like whatever I was listening to at the time, just so I could play something in the car, like while I was
Yep.
riding around. So that's funny. That just made me think about that too. So
Man, don't get me started on the car days, man. I remember when I first got my sister gave me a hand-me-down. She gave me her car. And then my boy Channing in the neighborhood, he had him a little Honda, and I had me. It was a Nissan Sentra.
okay,
I put a little deck in there, you know what I'm saying, so I could play my tunes like you said, play the CDs. And then Channing, he said, you know something, I'm gonna get a subwoofer. I was like, a sub,
okay,
okay, all right. He put it in there himself. I was like, shoot, I'm gonna order one too. Put one in mine. So we was in the neighborhood just booming with all kind of
yeah.
sounds coming through the trunk, man. Good times, good times.
Reminisce, man,
Yes,
reminisce.
reminisce. But yes. So thank you for that history there, man. And I know you said you played the instrument trombone and things like that. And of course, well, I was in band in middle school, a little bit in high school. I played the saxophone, and I feel like
Yeah,
it's a little bit different looking at music from like a musician versus like a consumer. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
for sure.
So of course, like when you was playing trombone, I'm pretty sure you was like listening to hip hop and stuff like that. But did you find yourself listening to like any trombonists, like any artists that?
No, not as much as you would think. So I
Mhm.
really only played trombone in middle school. I didn't keep it going into high school because I
Okay.
didn't want to do marching band or anything like that. And going into high school, like that was the option. You had to be in band and in marching band. So I was like, you know what, I'm cool on it. But it's funny. The trombone is still at my parents' house. Like they still have it, and
Really?
I want to dust it off one day and kind of get back to it. But I think now where I'm at in terms of like music, that's something I would kind of listen to a little bit more instrumental, getting into more like trombonists to kind of learn like different skills and pick up some things that I kind of lost over time. But at the time, no, not too much. I wasn't really into nothing instrumental back then when I was playing trombone. It's like I need to hear the words. I'm trying to
Right, right.
like,
Yeah. That's true though, man. I even when I played saxophone, I didn't even know too much about any saxophonists
yeah,
and things like that. I was just going to class, playing, coming and practicing. But through the years, I always like challenged myself to try to dig deep into like why was I interested in playing the saxophone? Or
yeah.
like what was some of the saxophonists around there? So I had this record right here, the good old
Cold
John
train.
Coltrane. So
Yes, sir.
um, that's why I have it because I'm like, man, if I would have been listening to him when I was actually playing, I might have
Yeah.
had some inspo.
Hold on, my
So,
bad, my bad. Say
oh no, you
Siri
good.
got activated.
You say what?
I said it picked up something we said and Siri got activated.
Oh,
So
no, you good. But yeah. So I feel like that. Looking at that journey is like was like eye opening for me and starting listening to like John Coltrane and stuff like that. So that's why I asked because I think it, like you said, like it's a different perspective that you get across as you grow older versus like when you was younger.
no, for sure. I mean, even just owning the shop and diving into music, I mean, just my musical taste and interests, in the 2 years that I've been running the shop. But I mean, even beyond that, I've been collecting records for I mean, coming up on like 5, 6 years now. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just my musical taste has changed so much over the years. So, I'm diving more into jazz and like experimental stuff. So I mean, yeah, it's just crazy to know like what I used to be into and
Right,
still am
right.
into, and then just what I've been exposed to through this journey. So
Gotcha. And speaking of your record shop, that's a good place to segue into you now talking about your record shop. And you said you was at it for 2 years. So like, how did it come into fruition? Was it
yeah,
something you always wanted to do? Or like what really inspired you to start the
yeah.
record shop?
So I wouldn't say that it's something that I always wanted to do, but kind of how I got into collecting records was when I graduated from USC. My wife, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, but my wife now, she actually bought me a record player, like as a graduation gift. I had been
Okay.
talking about getting one. I was really intrigued with the records. I always kind of been like a collector, like physical things, and I
Mhm.
always felt like having the music, being able to look at the credits and like production and everything. I just was really into it. So she took the jump. She bought me the record player, and the first record she bought me was Kanye West, "My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy." And
Hey.
man, it just created like this like it just created this habit. Like I just really fell in love with going to the record stores, finding new stuff that either I had like seen from my parents or like just
Right.
heard somewhere, just kind of exposed myself to new things. So fast forward a couple years later, or kind of at the beginning of the pandemic, I had been collecting for a couple years, and I had some friends that was like, I want to get into collecting records. I want to, they had seen my collection. It was like, where do I get things from? And I was like, well, you know what? I've been doing this for a few years. I kind of know how to source these records, so I wanted to become the vinyl plug, really. But
Gotcha.
more than that,
I
what I
like that.
noticed over the years is from going from shop to shop and trying to find like 90s R&B and even some stuff earlier than that,
Mhm.
I was noticing that at different, shops around Columbia or wherever I was at the time, they just wasn't really having a very wide selection of the music that I like.
Mhm.
They wasn't having a lot of R&B or hip hop. You walk into the shop and you see, and no disrespect, they greats as well.
Yeah.
Beatles and
Right.
Elvis. I was seeing a lot of that, and I was like, well, where's the Mary J. Blige and like where's Earth, Wind and Fire?
Yeah.
Like, where are all these things I'm looking for? So I said, I want to be able to open a shop that kind of caters to the music that I really love, and I know that people that look like me, really love as well. So I wanted to kind of fill a gap that I felt was really out there.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, when you start to look to find records to put on your shop, what does that process look like to you? Like, what does the starting point look like, and then
Yeah,
what makes you be like, something? This is going on the shop. People gonna love it. They gonna get
yeah.
it.
Well, I mean, of course, kind of what I was talking about is like I wanted to have classics like
Mhm.
Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie, Marvin Gaye. I wanted to have all of that stuff, but I also wanted to kind of how I was saying since I've been doing this for a little while, my tastes have expanded, and it's if you like Stevie or you like Marvin, I can think of somebody else that you probably like too.
Right.
So that's kind of where it came from. Is like, all right, I want to cover my bases in terms of the classics, but I want to help broaden the taste and range of other people. So it kind of starts with what I know first.
Okay.
Anything that you see on the website is something that I've listened to or heard before, because I
Mhm.
think it's a little bit more meaningful with, shopping or doing an event where I'm speaking to people that I can really talk about the music that I have for sale. I don't want to have something that I never heard before and somebody ask a question. It's like, well, what's on this? Do you like it? How's it sound? If I can't answer that question, then I might as well not sell it. You know what I mean? So I think
Gotcha.
that's kind of my first step is like, all right, what's an undeniable classic, and two, what's something that I know other people will enjoy. I want to, people to experience the same feeling that I get when I listen to these records. So
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So I guess what's been like the hardest part about opening up the record shop? Do you feel like it's hard to find the records that you're looking for that makes it hard, or do you feel
you know,
like what's the challenge?
honestly, coming up on a 2 year mark, finding some of those older classics. I think in these 2 years that I've been doing it, like the vinyl like resurgence is kind of like been booming. I think past couple years, people, I don't know if it was COVID, people being in the house, but people have really been getting into collecting records or just revisiting music. So a lot of the stuff that I was finding like as I was beginning to open the shop is a little bit harder to find now. Some of those older records, but I think back at the beginning, I always wanted to have a good mix of like older used stuff, but also new. You got the Big Sean in the background. I wanted to have a good variety because for the people that ain't really ready to jump, back to
Right.
the old school, I want to have something for the folks that wanted current day stuff and kind of starting up with no like funding or anything. I was really putting my own money into it. it was harder to make the connections to buy that new stuff. I was basically having to buy it at the same price that I would buy it as a consumer. But
Mm-hmm.
now I made relationships with distributors and I got wholesale, so I can, get a lot of that stuff that I couldn't early on. Um, so I think inventory is always a challenge, like just trying to keep up with the demand of different things. Um, but I think the other thing that I wouldn't say I struggle with, but it's just difficult, and I think you could probably attest to it as well as a content creator is just like keeping up with a good schedule of posting things.
Right, right.
I do everything myself, all my designs, anything I post on my Instagram. I built my website from scratch. Like I did all that myself. So it was a labor of love. It was trial and error, figuring out what I like and didn't. So that was difficult as well. Um, but it's challenges. You grow from it. And now I kind of found my stride with the things I like. So
Okay, that makes sense. And now I was looking at your website and I saw where you have like I guess like the turntables for the records on there as well. Um, I was like, I mean, I have a record player myself.
yeah.
I have two. I have one that I bought, and then actually YouTube gave me a customized one
Okay.
with my name on it.
Nice.
So I use that one majority of the time. But what would you say make a good record player in general? Like,
Yeah. So I started out with one of those all-in-one record players, had the speaker built into it and everything. And like you go to Urban Outfitters and they got the like suitcase, that's what they call it, the suitcase
mhm.
turntable that's all in one.
I think that's the other one I have.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to downplay those record players because they good entry level. It's something to get you started, kind of help you get into this vinyl lifestyle. But that's not what I would recommend for folks. Like the ones I have on my website, they're all Audio Technica, which is like a really good, it's really reputable, turntable brand. But
Mhm.
really, the telltale signs of a good record player is it's what they call the tone arm. That's what's got the needle on it that make contact with the record and play the music. But if your tone arm doesn't have a counterweight on the back end of it, it's like a just like a round piece that's got
Yeah.
some numbers on it that helps adjust like how hard the needle hits the record. If you can't adjust that or your turntable arm needle doesn't have that, it's not going to be the best turntable or record player like for the long run. Because a lot of those all-in-one that's got speakers built into them, they don't have that adjustable feature, and
Mhm.
that just means that over time, that needle might be hitting the record too hard. It might end up scratching it, or it might pretty much is going to damage your records. So if you got some really old stuff that's really valuable, that's not what you want to play your records on. But
Okay.
it's a good way to get started.
Because the one YouTube gave me, it has that weight that you was talking about. I was like, what is? I
Yeah,
don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing with this. But hey, as long as
yeah.
I can figure out how to play it, that's all that matters.
Exactly. That's always going to be a good thing. Look for anything that's got that counterweight on the back end of it is going to be a good thing. Or if it's got the one YouTube got you, it's got like a queuing lever, so you turn it and then you drop the thing and it'll
Yeah,
the arm will
slowly.
lower.
Yeah.
That means you got a good one too, because
Mhm.
all those other ones you kind of have to lift the needle yourself and drop
Mhm.
it, and you might drop it, and that might scratch the record up. But you do the lever, it's gonna hit at the right spot, exactly where you want it, no issues. And then when you finish, you lift it up, it'll lift for you, and then you just kind of put it back in place. So
Gotcha.
them two things I would look for.
Cool. Good to know. And I feel like my problem with the record player, like I like listening to records sometimes, but then I'd be like trying to figure out like where my song at. Like I need to figure out, like I need to move the
Yeah,
needle to the beginning of the song and try it. I'm like, you know something? I'm just playing for the beginning and just let it
yeah,
roll on through and just let it
yeah,
go.
yeah. No, that's definitely part of the experience. I
Yeah.
mean, every now and then, I put a record on and I want to hear something in particular, like it might be 3 or 4 songs in, but 9 times out of 10, I put a record on, I'm just letting it play straight
It
through.
goes through. Yeah, that's what
I
I've been
think
doing.
that's
So
part of the experience. You know what I mean? We're not skipping around. We're not putting no shuffle on. However, the artist intended the sequence to go, that's what you're gonna listen to. So
gotcha. So I know you said you've been into like records for probably about 5 years, and your wife now got you a record player. So since you're the vinyl king, what record player you got now? What you
Oh
spinning
man.
on?
So it's funny. So she bought me my first record player, which was one of them all-in-ones. And then as I was getting into it, I was like, nah, I need one that's got this balance on it, it's got the lever on it.
Yeah.
And a couple years later, she actually upgraded me. She
Oh,
upgraded me to the record player I have now is from a brand called Fluence,
okay. Okay.
Fluance. They got a couple different ranges. They probably cheapest turntable is like maybe 250, and they kind of
Okay.
go, they can get up there. But it's fantastic. It's got like it's kind of got that wood finish on it.
Okay.
It's got a good weight to it. It's sturdy. But yeah, that's what I spend. That's what I've been spending records on for at least 3 or 4 years now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like a good one too then.
yeah, highly recommend. Got the Elijah stamp of approval on that one.
Perfect. I heard it. The vinyl king himself
Hey,
got the stamp of approval on it. But okay, cool, cool. So have you ever, I always like to ask this question for people that's into records.
yeah,
Have you ever thought about like DJing? Because you know, like they have the DJing record. Like I don't even know how any of that work, but
yeah,
you know, like have you thought about like the old school DJing way with the you got it two separate, you
yeah.
put the thing on there.
So it's funny you say that because so I don't you may not have known this, but actually in undergrad at USC, I did a very short stint as a DJ, like very short,
Oh,
might have been like 6, 8
you got
months.
your feet wet a little bit.
I was at Copper Beach and doing all the house parties
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Obviously not playing from records, from the laptop, but um, yeah, so I have history as being a DJ, and now that I'm doing the records, when I do in-person events, because obviously I primarily sell online, but I do a lot of pop-up events around Columbia or wherever I might be at the time, Charlotte, Greenville, and if they'll allow me, I'll actually kind of curate the music for the night from the records. So I bring my turntable, I bring some speakers, and I'm playing the music I have for sale. One, because I like music and I want to, be able to curate the vibe for the night. But also as another method of advertisement for myself, it's like I'm not selling bad records. I'm not selling records that don't sound good. Like
Right, right,
play what I have so you can hear the quality of it.
right.
So that's a long way to answer your question. Yes, I would. I actually literally like 2 days ago, I just bought a whole setup with the two
Oh,
turntables and the mixer and everything
perfect timing.
coming in a couple weeks or so I gotta explore a little bit more on that. But yeah, what I do now with the events, I just take the one and I play a song and then kind of switch out the record, so it's not seamless, but still create the vibe.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
cool, cool. And since we are still on the topic of records, what's
yeah.
like your all-time favorite record that you own right now? And
Okay,
then one that you still haven't gotten your hands on that you really want.
okay. So, and this actually going to transition to a question I got for you too,
Okay.
because both of these albums are on my list for the question I'm gonna ask you in a minute. But the very first record that I bought from a record store, and thinking back about it now, is a crazy find. Mary J. Blige, Share My World album.
Hmm.
I got that from a shop here in Columbia. That was the first record I bought. That's my favorite Mary J. Blige album.
Okay.
Always has been, always will be. That's probably one of my favorite records that I have in my collection, just because it's very hard to find that one. Like a good
Wow.
quality copy is almost impossible to find. And even matter of fact, that copy that I have, it skips on the first song. But
Mm.
I mean, I love it so much, like I keep it, like I can never get rid of it. So that's the one that I really love. There's probably a lot more, but if I gotta pick one, that's probably it. Now, one that I do not have, that I absolutely am like searching for actively on a daily basis is Kanye West's Graduation. That is
Ah.
that's actually probably my favorite album ever. That's like my favorite album ever. I'm a huge Kanye West fan. Like, I wouldn't say that's his best album. I wouldn't go that far, but it's my favorite Kanye West album that Yeah, I'm like on a crazy search to find that one to add to the collection.
Okay, okay. Some good selections there.
Yeah. Okay, so now my question for you is, you know, people ask you like, if you trapped on the island,
Mm-hmm.
only have 5 albums
Mm.
to listen to for however long you on that album. I mean, however long you on that island. What are your picks? And while you think about it, I give you my 5 to give you some time to think. So you already know two: Mary J. Blige, "Share My World,"
Mm-hmm.
Kanye West, "Graduation," um, Anderson .Paak, "Malibu."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Love that album. That's the first. That's the first Anderson .Paak album I heard, and I can't. I never get tired of listening to that. So that's 3. Common, "B" album.
Oh yeah.
That's
I
like
like Common. I like that. Yes.
that's yeah. And I gotta have one old school in the mix. Marvin Gaye's "I Want You." That's
Ah,
that's
okay.
that's my
Okay.
favorite Marvin Gaye album too. So that's my 5 right there.
Oh man. Honestly, I'm gonna try to break it down. Let's see. My first record or album I ever listened to in my whole entire life
Yeah.
was um it was the Temptation. Like the first CD I ever had
Okay.
was the Temptations
Yeah.
because I had got a PlayStation, and the PlayStation you could play CDs, and
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
only CD I found
Okay.
up in the house, and I put it in there, and I would just listen to it on Saturdays. Just
Yeah.
listen to it. What album is it though? I need to figure that out. But it's one of the Temptations.
Okay. Hey, I put you on the spot, so I had time to think
Yeah.
about mine. So
Second would be the first the first CD I ever copped when I had my own money, which was in middle school,
okay.
and that was which one was it? It was Ti.
Okay. Trap music.
It might have been trap music.
Uh Middle school time. That might have been with like Urban Legend, maybe.
Well, actually, no, 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 no. It was Paper Trail.
Paper Trail. Okay.
It was Paper Trail. So it
Okay.
might have not been middle school because I don't think Paper Trail came out when I was in middle school. But that was the first CD that I purchased with my
Yeah.
own money.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll say that. Third would have to be, Big Sean. I love Big Sean. And I think his best collection of work is The Dark Sky Paradise,
Okay. Okay.
personally. So that would be one that I could just listen to
Yeah.
straight through.
Yeah.
Next, I do like Kanye. I like Late Registration. So
Fantastic pick.
probably roll with that.
Okay.
What I'm on right now.
That you got T.I., Kanye.
Okay, I need one more.
Yeah.
I'll say my last one. Shoot. That's a hard one, man. I would say
You got a good mix though.
huh?
So you got a good mix.
I want to go old school, but I'm not. I'm gonna go. Damn. I'm gonna go Good Kid, Mad City.
Not mad at that.
I'm
Not
gonna
mad at
go.
that.
I'm gonna go Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go Kendrick Lamar.
I like that.
But an honorable mention, and I get slack for this. But an album that I can listen to nonstop,
Okay.
banging beats,
Yeah.
great beats, great instrumentation that people sleep on is Young Jeezy, The Recession, and I'm gonna stand by that.
That's not a bad pick at all.
I'm gonna stand by that,
That's
man.
not a bad pick at all. I think back in the day, you gotta pick one or the other. You don't really have to, but back in the day, maybe you had to pick one or the other. I was probably more a Gucci fan than I was a Jeezy fan, but as I've gotten older, I have totally different appreciation for Jeezy's music. So Recession, I understand. That shouldn't even be. Well, I can't tell you it shouldn't be like I mentioned, but that's a good pick.
Yes. Okay, yeah. Thank you for asking that. That made me think because I was like, dang, that's a hard question, man. Because
Yeah.
I can
And
go on and on.
I got to say, I really like Big Sean too. And I think Dark Sky Paradise, that's what's called.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that album, but to me, my favorite Big Sean album is I Decided.
You think the I decided is the
I don't know if I'm always careful in trying to say something is better than the other, but which one am I gonna pick is I decided.
and what? Why is that? Why is I decided?
I think another thing about music for me is I really kind of how you were saying at the beginning, like I associate different times in life with
Mm,
certain albums,
yeah.
and that album was really hitting at the time it came out, and I
Mm-hmm.
also my wife and I we went and saw him on that tour
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Myrtle Beach. So then being able to see that album perform live, I think I just got a different appreciation for it. So
Okay. I mean, I like all the albums.
yeah, yeah,
Dark Sky Paradise, kind of similar to you. It reminds me of a time when I was like in Orlando,
okay,
internship at Disney World. I was just living my
yeah,
best life. The album came out. I went to see them in Orlando. I
okay,
mean, it was a time, but I decided this is a good one too. And I would add that probably in my top three of Big
okay,
Sean
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. For
yeah.
sure. But hopefully come out with another project soon. I'm
I
waiting on
think it's
that.
time. I think it's time.
And him and Janae need to come out with another 20,
Yeah,
what,
they. I
2088? Yeah.
feel like they was talking about doing a part two a while ago. I don't know what happened to it, man. I guess baby got in the way, but
Yeah.
that should make for better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be better. It's gonna be better. Okay, cool. Another question I have for you when it comes to records, and I know you gotta like keep care of the record, you gotta keep care of it, and even if it's like warped, it might, affect like
Yeah.
the the flow of it. But when it comes to the needle, do you have to replace that often? Or like how often do you have to
So
replace the needle?
a regular person that don't run a record shop probably won't have to replace the needle as often. Because I run through. Well, I won't say I run through needles, but I've had to replace needles probably more than most people because, like I said earlier, anything that I have for sale at the shop, I've played one for like quality control because
Mhm,
I try to keep a certain standard of record that I sell. But
mhm.
also, again, like I said, if it's something I've never heard before, I want to listen to it and make sure I can kind of speak to what's on it and things like that. So, because
Right.
I listen to a lot of records over time, that needle is going to get dull. So you will have to replace it occasionally, um, but not super often though.
And what
Basically,
happens when the needle get dull?
so two things can happen, right? I've actually had maybe one or two needles that I played them all the way out to where the needle like actually fell off.
Mm.
The needle actually
Dang.
fell off, and then like I had dropped the lever, and I'm like expecting to hear Marvin Gaye or whatever it was. And I didn't hear nothing, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I kind of noticed the needle was gone. But basically, once it gets too dull, you'll kind of hear a difference in like the music might sound a little
Mm.
muffled, or it could even cause the record to like start skipping or different things like that. Basically, like if it's a record that you played before and you
Mhm.
playing and you noticing some differences, something ain't sounding right, it sound like it got some effects thrown on the vocals
Yeah.
or something, then it might be time to replace the needle.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take note of that. I'm pretty sure I don't play records as often as you do, so I don't think that mine will be going dull anytime soon. But it's good
Yeah,
to
no,
get
I
to know
mean
for the people out there.
most people probably not gonna have to replace it. Like it might be a couple years before you have to if you're not spinning like
Mhm.
very frequently. But yeah, I might run through it and probably still not that. I mean, it might take me 6 months or so to like maybe run through a needle.
Mhm.
But yeah, if you're not, I'm really playing records all day. I'm fortunate enough I work from home on my 9 to 5, so in between meetings and stuff, I got music playing in the background all the time. So if you're not doing that, you should be good.
Gotcha. Okay. And since we're still talking about music, I know a couple months back you asked me to create a playlist, and I've seen
Yeah.
like some of the other playlists that you have on your website. I guess like what inspired you to do that as far as like invite others to create like
Yeah.
a curated playlist based on their vibe and things like that.
So two things really. One, because I know that you know collecting records and people owning record players is sort of like a niche in and of itself. Not everybody has one. I didn't want to close anybody off to being exposed to the record shop. So that's a big thing that I started from day one not necessarily the collab playlist, but from the first day I opened the shop, I was putting playlists together that you can get on the website as well, just to keep
Mhm.
people into the music. A lot of times those playlists would incorporate the old school vibes with the new school vibes. Just that way, it's something for everybody. But I think after I hit the year mark, or maybe shortly before that, um, one of my homeboys, Brandon Moss, went to USC too. He
Mhm.
actually reached out, and I can't remember if he asked me if we could do a playlist together. Somehow we had a conversation about doing a playlist, and that kind of was the start of it. We did a playlist together, a little bit over a year ago, and it just kind of came to me like, well, this is a really good way for me to get some additional exposure, but also to basically just combine audiences from two different brands, two different creators, two different, what have you. So just a way to mix audiences, but music is universal. Everybody speaks music. Everybody loves music in some way. So I figured it's a really good way to allow other people that create or have businesses or have brands to kind of showcase their creativity. Because when I do those playlists, like you did one, I will provide feedback if you would like that. But
Right.
really, I ask everybody I work with to kind of put together something that represents themselves
Right.
as an owner of a business, or something that might represent your brand.
Right.
Um, that way, people can kind of get a sense of like what music you like, and then I'll kind of help you curate the rollout. I'll make the graphics for all the posts and everything. So it's really just a way to gain exposure from both sides of it.
Gotcha. For y'all that don't know, I did create a playlist called
And
Smoothies
it's a smooth,
in
man.
2023, man.
Good one.
Based pretty much LA vibes, coasting,
Yeah,
chilling, top back, rolling around. That's my vibe. I like to
because
be on
that,
some
that
chill
was
stuff.
what, June, right? That was June.
Yeah,
Couple weeks ago?
June. Well, May,
Perfect
May or
timing, man.
June. Yeah, one, two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one or two. Yeah, nah.
But I'm gonna post
I
a link
enjoyed
in
that
the
one.
description so y'all can check that out too. But
Yeah.
what you think of it though? I know you
No,
done did a
I'm
bunch of
only, and I don't lie. I don't just tell people that I like their playlist. Like if I got some for real feedback, I'll tell you. But nah, I really enjoyed it. You had the vibes on there, man. The Larry June, and nah, it was a good mix. I was
yeah.
I was for real playing that one. Like everybody that I work with, I kind of, I won't say I know what their music taste is, but
Mhm.
from most of the people I work with, I have some kind of personal relationship with. So
Right,
I kind of know them. I know what music they into. So I'm always like really excited when I see the
right,
finished
right.
product. And I for real, like just how I do with the records, I listen to the playlist in full.
Mhm.
And I'm weird in the way that I listen to music and playlists. On the first go round, I'm listening straight through.
Right, right.
Just
Straight
want to
through.
hear exactly how you put it together. And then
Mhm.
once I get through it that way, I'm throwing the shuffle on so I can ride around and
Right,
just get the vibe. So
right, right.
I listen to your playlist a good number of times. That's a good Sunday afternoon with the windows down.
Yeah,
Hey, if the weather allows, if it ain't too hot,
yo,
it's a
that's the
vibe, man.
vibe.
It's a
Man, it
vibe.
was. I was like, dang, it's gonna be hard for me to create this because my problem with playlists is like the order. I like to have it in a certain order. So, like you said, if people want to listen to it without the shuffle, it still
Yeah.
had that similar vibe to it. So I was trying to put the right song in the right spot. I'll go back, listen to it,
Yep.
be like, nah,
Yep.
this need to go up here. This can't be the end of the song. This need to be
I understand. Yeah, sometimes I get too in my head, like, is this
yeah.
it's finished for real? Like,
Right, right,
how
right.
long do you think that took you to put together all start to
Man,
finish?
start to finish, man. I say about a couple of weeks, bro.
Okay, yeah,
Couple of weeks, because I have a couple of playlists that I have of my own, and I
yeah,
would just listen to those in the car, and I'm like, oh yeah, that need to go on that playlist. Oh
yeah.
yeah, that one. And even when I sent it, I was like, I need to take this one off and put this.
Yeah, you did. I'm pretty sure you made some edits before
Yeah,
it
yeah,
went live for real, but nah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not a good playlist for real. If y'all ain't listened to it yet,
Mhm.
you need to tap in on that one. So year about what we more than halfway over with the year now.
Mhm.
I always like to pick people brains, especially when I know they into music.
Mhm.
What's been your go-to album so far this year?
That's easy. It will be Dom Kennedy and T Fly. They did a collaboration called I Love
Yeah,
Stalker. I play that almost every day straight through. vibes, chilling,
West
coasting.
Coast vibes, man.
Yes,
On
I
the West
think
Coast
that's
vibes.
it's probably unpopular opinion, but it's a good album. I listen to it straight through.
No, that's man. I've been loving Dom since high school. What's the? I think it's from the West Side with Love too. That's
Mm-hmm.
the one that came out when I was in like late high school, about to
With the
graduate,
blue letters on it.
with the blue letters on it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, I've been like anything Dom drop, man. It's like that's why I feel the way I feel about Larry June too. He give me that
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that same kind of vibe. So yeah, anything Dom drop, man, I'm running that
Yeah,
nonstop. But
that's a
that's
good one. If you ain't listen to it, man. It's
running
straight
check on out, man. For
straight
me,
through.
I don't Killer Mike. You heard the
Oh,
Killer Mike
I
album?
did run that one a couple of times. I
And
did.
I can't lie, I never been like I've been very casual like Killer Mike fan.
Hmm.
I like some Killer Mike here and there. I like when you get on the feature, but this album different.
Hmm. Yeah, it is. I listened to it a couple of times. I need to go back and listen to it like thoroughly. I popped it
Yeah,
on in the car, and in Atlanta we got to be vigilant with the traffic, but
I
but I
understand.
need to pop it on while I'm at home and just sit down and just coast to it and see really dive deep into it.
Yeah, yeah,
But I would say a runner up. Well, not many albums really came out this year that I really.
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
Like I, I feel like it's usually really easy for me to kind of
yeah,
pinpoint
me too.
what's coming up, and I don't want to disrespect nobody by saying it's been a little bit of a low year for
Yeah,
music.
yeah,
It
it
just
was.
been like, yeah,
I think the other album I was listening to, um, what is it? It's called 222 by Lil TJ.
okay,
And the reason why want to listen to it because I feel like it would have been a story behind it because you know how he got shot that many and then came
yeah,
out on
yeah,
top. I think he got shot 7 times and then lived and stuff like that. So I'm like, let me see what he talking about on this album
yeah.
to see if he like if it's a little bit of storytelling. And he had some
Got a little bit.
storytelling. Yeah, he got a little something. So I've been listening to that. It's straight. It ain't the best of the year, but it's so
Okay, yeah. I don't think I listened to that one, so I check that one out.
yeah, for sure, for
I
sure.
think if I got any, if you into like I don't even really know what I would describe it. It might be like classified as R&B on like Apple Music or something like that, but it's kind of like that alternative. Like if you like Steve Lacy, right? You
Okay,
might
I've heard of Steve.
you heard of Steve. If you
Mhm.
like Steve Lacy, you might like and I don't even want to say that's a real direct comparison, but guy, his name is Jordan Ward.
Okay.
He got this album called Forward. Um, some bangers on there, man.
Forward.
It's a
Okay.
nice vibe. It's a nice
I'm gonna
vibe.
check that out too. Adding it right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And now that you asked me a question, I forgot to ask you this question too. So we just go keep it
Let's
going
keep it
right
going.
now.
Let's keep it
Yeah, we
going.
keep it going. I meant to ask you because of course with music, I consider myself musically diverse. So I like
Yeah.
different types of music. Of course, hip hop, R&B, my main go-to. Don't really tap into country like that. But I do like a little bit of pop here and there. I've been getting into like the Afro beats.
Yeah.
I've been dabbling into different genres. But what would you say is like some of your genres outside of like hip hop and R&B that you like to listen to?
I do like some Afro beats. I'm not gonna lie. But I think really I've been kind of diving into jazz a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Jazz of whatever form, whether it's got vocals in it or not. But I mean, so when we was talking about instruments before, I played the trombone, but I really want to play saxophone. That's what I really want
Hey, should have came on over.
Hey, listen, I got uncles, cousins that all play saxophone, and just real funny, quick story. So I did band in middle school, and it just so happened that like um, I'm sure you probably had to do like the instrument test where you had to go around and play everything, and they
Mm-hmm.
kind of rank you or whatever. So I was excited. I'm like, all right, yeah, that saxophone go. I'm about to turn up. I'm about to get it. And I think they rated you on a scale like 1 to 10. I think I scored like an 8 out of 10 on the saxophone.
Mhm.
And when it was time for you to choose, it was like, well, on a saxophone, if you didn't score like a 9 or a 10, like you can't play it. So I
Dang,
was like, dang man, like, all right,
what
I
kind of
guess
man?
that's what I want to do. And then, a few days later in class or band class, um, I was absent because I had a dentist appointment.
Mhm.
Come to find out later on, they had made an announcement in class like, if anybody wants to switch to saxophone, like now's your chance. I was heartbroken.
And you missed the chance.
I was heartbroken. But
Dang.
say all that to say, any kind of jazz that's got some saxophone in it, or honestly, I really like saxophone. I really like strings. Um, of course, Coltrane, Miles Davis. Um, there's a really good saxophonist. His name is Yusef Lateef.
Mm.
That's a bad man right there. George Benson. Just I mean jazz, like that's he guitar, but I mean jazz is probably like my next go to if it's not hip hop or R&B. Um, I've been trying to get more into my pop bag because it's a time and place for everything.
It is. It
Time and place
is.
for everything, but I ain't quite jumped off the deep end with that yet. But it's still in that rap category. But I really been into like the UK like rap,
Oh yeah, yeah. They
like
okay.
it's something about the energy that they bring. There's a female artist named
Mm.
Enny. Dope. If you haven't heard her before, check her out. Little Sims, dope. Dave, if you ever seen the show Top Boy on Netflix,
Yep.
he's one of
Mhm.
the actors in that.
Okay.
Dope. Yeah, so that's kind of where I've been at. But I think more than anything, I'm turning to like a neo soul guy. Like
Okay. Okay.
that's really what I've been on lately.
That's what you've been on. I feel like it's weird because it kind of comes in waves, you know? Like either as you get older or as you just
Yeah,
like, something, I'm tired of listening to this. Let me tap into something different. So
yeah.
that's cool. And I also forgot to mention in high school, I dabbled at beat making. So
Okay.
I had Fruity
Yeah,
Loops in high school, and I was like making beats and things like that. And then also a little bit in college, I used to play around with Garage Band and Logic a little bit. So I
yeah.
got a couple of beats out there now.
Okay.
I got a couple of them. I need to
My
play
way, man.
them.
Hey, it's funny. I got a younger brother. He actually makes beats, and he does a little bit more of like I don't really want to say like EDM, but kind of more on that like. Actually, no. It's his style is a little bit more like that lo-fi, um,
Okay.
real
Yeah.
chill
Yeah.
wave.
Mm-hmm.
But he got some of the more like EDM electronic like elements in some of his beats.
Mm-hmm.
He does have some more like traditional like hip hop R&B type stuff, but if you like that kind of like background music while you're working, like he got some of that. But that's one thing I never really dabbled into is beat making. But I get a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
folks I speak to when I'm doing pop-ups and stuff. They're like, "You ever thought about making beats? Like, you got all the gems to like sample and everything." So time will
It,
tell,
it
man. It might come. Now I got the DJ setup coming. It's on the way. So anything is possible, man.
Hey, I love a good beat, man. I wish I would have keep it up because I realized like as I listen to music, I can listen to it to just the lyrics and things like that, but then I also can listen to it really about the instrumentation. Like I
Yeah.
love a good piano, I love a good brass sound. Similar to you, I like the strings sometimes. Like I don't what's that song by Young Thug? They like, yeah, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. That man, that song right there, the beat,
Yeah.
it just man, so stuff like that is what really makes me happy when I hear a song.
I'm with you. Any
Dun,
like, yeah,
dun, dun.
if you a rapper or whatever kind of music you make and you throw some live instrumentation on there, like I'm sold pretty much. It almost don't even matter what you're saying. It's like
Yes.
I'm here for that beat, man.
Speaking of live instrumentation, that juvenile tiny desk boy, god dang. I
He,
said, yo,
he,
they had to kill it like that. That band
he
was
did that.
that band. Oh,
Yeah, he did that, man. John Baptiste, man. That's a good one too.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, we don't went off on all kind of
Yeah,
different
and that's my fault. I came in with the last minute
nah,
question,
nah,
man. But
nah.
this is what I do, man. I love music. I love talking about music, having conversations about it. So
Hey, I love it too, man. I'm trying to figure out how to integrate music more into my channel too. You know, I don't know if I want to start adding some album reviews in there or something. I
yeah,
don't know, but I got to integrate it because it's a huge part of my life, and that's why I'm talking about it now. And it's universal, like you said. It's a part of a lot of people's lives, and some people use it to cure things. They going through things, or one thing I do like about music too is timeless. You know what I'm saying? You could think of a song, listen to a song from hell 2000. You'd be like, dang,
yeah,
it take me back to that time.
that
Like I
time.
feel like I'm in the moment. And you can remember exactly like I was doing this, I was here, and that's why I like the Big Sean album because it takes me back
Yeah,
to a time where I was like very very happy in my life. So I do want to give you a chance to shout out your brand, your website, and have people connect with you and things of that nature too. And I'm gonna also leave the link in the description as well. But yeah, I'll let you take it away as far as like your Instagram, email, how you want people to reach out to you, everything.
yeah, appreciate that. So y'all can shop with me on my website directly. It's Library Record Shop, regularspelling.com. I got all my records for sale on there. You can browse, see what you're into, see what you like. If there's something you don't see, you can shoot me a message through the website, or I always tell people to connect with me on Instagram. Instagram tag, our handle is Library Record Shop. Again, regular spelling. And I tell people to tap in with that because every Friday is when I drop, my new releases for the week. And I be telling people, if there's something you want, that music is coming on Friday. I probably would suggest you turn them notifications on, because I tell you many times I post something on Friday and somebody might be 30 minutes, an hour too late to the drop. Whatever they're looking for is already gone. So that's your best bet. But definitely website libraryrecordshop.com. Instagram is Library Record Shop. Um, you can also follow me on TikTok. It's not necessarily associated with the business, but I do some of my like new releases I kind of put on there, and that's the vinyl plug underscore. So I showcase a lot of my personal collection on there, and then I also mix in some of the record stuff as well. But those probably your three main places: libraryrecordshop.com, Library Record Shop on Instagram, and follow me on TikTok, vinyl plug underscore.
Awesome, awesome. Well, y'all heard it from the man himself, the vinyl plug. Go ahead
Yeah,
and check him out, please. I think I might be on there trying to find me a record or two. I need to add to my collection
definitely,
as
man. Hey,
well.
man, I can get some Big Sean for you if you need it, but let's see. Guess I want people to know also, like I mentioned at the beginning, next Thursday the 10th actually be 2 years of the shop being open. So starting next Thursday, and for that next week, I'll be doing like some customer appreciation. I have some really good sales going on, probably some giveaways as well. So kind of be, on the lookout for some of that information. And then, as a thank you for having me on the show, I'm gonna throw a little discount code out for everybody watching. So we'll put that in the description and everything as well. So
Y'all heard it. The discount code coming y'all way. Get y'all some records. If you
sir.
don't have a record player, get you a record player. And if you don't have any of that, go and listen to the playlist you have on the website
Definitely,
from
definitely.
everybody.
All that's on there,
But
man.
but yeah, man, thank you for joining on the channel and coming on here, giving us some good insight on records, music, giving us the do's and the don'ts, and replacing your needles and getting weights on there. Like all this, I didn't know, so I know the people listening gained a good bit of insight. So I appreciate you for that, man. And welcome back anytime. Anytime you want to come back, let me know. Happy to have you back. Happy to chop it up about
Well,
music.
hey, we'd love to, man. If you want to do album reviews, we can do album reviews. We can.
Yes.
I've been thinking about doing myself for the shop, like year end. Like I always do a playlist at the end of the year of like my top
Mhm.
50 songs. But I've been thinking about doing like a live, well, maybe not like a live, but just some kind of video, kind of capping like my top
Mhm.
10 albums of the year. We could do, yeah, man. Basically, if you want to talk about music, man, just let me know.
I got you. I got you. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you again. And I will catch you later, bro.
Don't go my
Hey,
way.
appreciate you, man.
I get upset, but I cannot complain. I save a bag to spend on rainy days. Diamonds for my bay, those type of things. 10 a.m. You're still sleeping, I've been up since 6 a.m. Early bird gets the worm, what it is. All these birds, they get curved, what it is. Okay. Hold up, wait a minute, let me say something.